Whether you're plugged up or boondocking in your RV, the goal in the summer is to keep the cold air inside the RV and the heat outside of the RV. Presumably your RV already has an AC or air conditioning unit. If not, you can always buy one. I had to do this in my van, and I'll put a link to the one that I purchased below this video. In order to run the air condition in your RV, you're going to have to be plugged up at an RV park, or you're going to need to run the generator. Now, if you're plugged up at an RV park, you're going to have to pay for a spot. And if you're renting monthly like I am, you might actually get an electric bill that you'll have to pay on top of your rent. And the other thing to consider is that your air conditioner takes a lot of power. So no matter how you're powering it, you're going to have to pay for that. So it's going to take up most of that bill. If you're boondocking in your RV and you want to run the air conditioner, you're going to have to run your generator in order to power it. So to power your generator, you need to have some type of fuel, and that can come from either a gas tank or a diesel tank, and it might even run off of propane. And if you remember what I said about AC taking up most of your electric bill, well, it's going to take up most of your fuel consumption, fuel bill, gas bill, whatever you're powering it with as well. If you haven't figured it out yet, it costs a lot of money to run the air condition in your RV, and it's not cheap. A side note about solar powering your RV's AC. I get a lot of questions about this, so I want to make sure and stress this. The AC air conditioning unit in your RV cannot be powered off of solar power. Normally, there are cases where people have done this, but they've spent a lot of time and money invested into some type of solar setup. So your RV doesn't come like this. Maybe somewhere way off in the future they'll do this, but as of right now, it's not a standard setup. You can't go to the RV dealership and say, hey, can I get a solar powered air conditioning unit? It's not going to happen. So that's something you'll have to figure out. The good news is that there are some ways to save money in your RV when it comes to trying to keep it cool, and some ways that I've been able to save money in my RV, especially this summer, and I'm going to share those with you in this video. Obviously, you want to use the air conditioning unit in your RV, but it's either loud, costly, or not working good enough. My first tip for staying cool in the RV is to have an accurate thermostat. And no matter what RV you have, the air conditioning unit is usually about 5 to 10 degrees off. And I'll normally monitor this from my control panel, but I actually have this accurate thermostat, portable thermostat that I'll put in the RV, and I have a couple of them that I spread around, but I keep this one so that I know the accurate temperature in the RV. So I'll put a link to this below this video and you can check it out for yourself. The second tip that I have for keeping your RV cool is to separate rooms and only cool the rooms that you need to in your RV. So one of the ways that I do this is either with shutting doors that you might have in your RV or adding curtains. So I've put curtains in the front of my RV to separate off from any of the heat that's coming in from the windows. And then I also have a large patio door in the back that I've separated off with curtains. And then another way that you can separate the RV and only cool the rooms that you need to is by closing off the vents in the AC if you have ducted AC, and that'll just keep the rooms or the areas cool that you're trying to cool that you're in for that time. The third tip that I have for keeping the RV cool is to use portable fans. Now, the great thing about these is that they keep air circulating throughout the RV as well as keep the RV cool. And I have both oscillating fans as well as box fans throughout my RV. And the other thing that I like about these is they're really low on wattage and how much power they use. So I can usually run them on my batteries so I can also get air conditioning or airflow when I'm boondocking. The fourth tip that I have for getting airflow in your RV is to have these fantastic vents, or these vents that you can get in your RV to allow airflow. Now, they provide a really good source of security if you have pets in your RV, because you can buy them with wind sensors on them and temperature sensors on them, but it allows you to have airflow in the RV even when your AC isn't on, or maybe if it is, depending on your RV setup. So if you don't have these already installed in your RV, you can get them installed, and they also have covers for them that you can get on the outside of the RV that allow you to leave them open in inclement weather, depending, hopefully it's not too bad. So if it's windy or rainy, not too much, it will stay open or close on its own, and then you can get the covers that allow you to leave it open, maybe even in storage to have airflow. So pets, storage, these fantastic vents give you a really good way to get AC in your RV even without power, because they can run on battery power, so you don't have to be plugged up. You can use it when you're boondocking. Speaking of these vents leads me to my next tip for keeping the RV cool, which is tip number 5, is to close and cover any windows and vents that you might actually have in your RV. In order to keep my RV cool, I always try to close any of the windows or vents that I have in my RV. And while you think that the shades that you get with your RV would be sufficient, they really don't block out all the lights. So you want to keep out all the sunlight or heat that's coming into the RV that you can. So any type of skylights, vents, windows, front to back. I keep my RV super dark, so when you go into my RV, it kind of looks dark and gloomy, but I keep these windows shut during the day, as well as I will add this Reflectix. It's kind of like an insulation, a double paneled insulation, or think of like the sun shades that you get for your car. I cut it and put it all throughout my RV, and every window, every vent, I have it positioned somewhere in my RV somehow. So I'll either do it with Velcro or command strips or even like expandable poles. And then you can also buy pre-fitting vent covers that go into these vents. So some of my vents in the ceiling, I'll have the vents covered for it, but I'll buy the Reflectix and cut it for all the windows because it just comes out cheaper. I buy a huge roll of it and then I cut it to fit all of the windows, so they're custom sizes. Adding this Reflectix in my RV through all the windows honestly keeps my RV 10 to 20 degrees cooler. And then as far as the vent covers that you can buy these vent covers, like I mentioned, for the inside and the outside of the vents in your RV. Tip number 6 for keeping your RV cool is to actually get your windows tinted. I've done this, or am going to do this, on the glass door in my RV, but a lot of your windows in your RV probably already have some kind of tint. But think about the front windows in your RV, or maybe even the vents in your RV. If there's some way to tint the windows, it's going to help keeping the heat out of the RV, the sunlight out of the RV, and keeping it cooler inside the RV. Now, I did the window tint in my van, and I've kind of learned that trick through all the cars that I've had. But another little trick that I've learned while RVing is what I call the vent trick. So what you do is you open a window or a door in your RV, and you can still have the screen on, but you'll also take one of the vents in your RV and you're going to open that and turn it on. So with a window open and the vent open and on, it creates this circular airflow throughout your RV. So it's a great way to keep your RV cool even without the AC on. Now, some more tips for staying cool in your RV, or some things that you might want to consider, and things that I've learned, are travel during the hottest times of the day. So this is probably around 12 to 5 p.m. depending on your location. And what I'll do is drive during that time, or I'll turn my AC on during that time and get air conditioned in the RV. And then another thing that you could do is maybe go outside the RV and use the awning. So you're not inside trying to stay cool, you can go outside and try and stay cool. Another thing to think about is where you park your RV. So you don't want to park your RV with the sun blaring down on all of the windows in your RV. RV. You want to make sure you park the RV accordingly to where the sun's at. Also consider parking under trees or where you can find some type of shade. That's going to help keep the RV cool as well. Now you could also consider taking off some clothes, as someone commented on one of my videos, and make sure and drink plenty of water so that you're staying hydrated whenever you're trying to stay cool. Some other things that you could consider to help cool the RV are maybe a swamp cooler that works really good if you're not in humid climates, and I actually bought this to use in my van. And then whenever I purchased this RV, my Thor Outlaw 37 RB toy hauler from Lazy Days, which they fixed, but I didn't have AC in the front of the RV for like a month when I bought it. And so I bought what's called an Icy Breeze. It was this cooler, and not only could it cool drinks, but it could blow AC at you, and we would take turns blowing this Icy Breeze on ourselves. But while I was driving, I had no AC, and it was so hot in this RV to drive. Another thing that you're going to want to consider about keeping the RV cool is keeping your cooking to a minimum. So this could also be your microwave or any hot showers that you might be taking, anything that's going to produce heat. Even leaving lights on, if you don't have LED lights, they could be getting hot and creating heat inside the RV. You'll also want to keep your AC air filters changed and have the AC serviced if you can't do it yourself. This is going to keep the AC running effectively and efficiently to cool the RV. Another thing is it actually filters the air in your RV so you keep it clean. So now you know how to keep your RV cool, or some things that's worked for me to keep my RV cool and retain the cold air in your RV. So all the things that I mentioned, make sure to check the description below this video. I put links to all of the things that I'm using or have used to keep my RV cool. But cooling the RV is just one part of RVing. Now I've put together a list of all the items that I use to not just cool my RV, but actually use my RV, that you can pick up. It's my RV essentials in the description below this video, so make sure you're checking the descriptions. That's where all the goodies are. I'm blogging Brandy. This is RVersity, a university for RVers. If you want to learn how to RV like a pro, I'll teach you everything I know. Just head over to RVersity.com. If you like this video, hit the like button below to let me know, and of course don't forget to subscribe and hit that little bell icon somewhere around this video so you're notified each and every time that I publish. In order to run your generator. Now, in order to run the AC in your RV, you're either going to need could you please stop? What are you doing? The second tip that I have for keeping your RV cool. I was totally about to go. Naveen, get him. You almost had him.
Where's he at?
Okay, let's start there.
He's gone.
Wow, he went straight in front of that thing. Now, speaking of these vents, you want to also lead into, and I forgot what I was saying. Sorry.
Oh my God.
Some other things that you can, but cooling the RV is just one part of RVing. Keeping the RV cool, and I kind of stumbled on it. If you like this video, hit the like button below and make sure, I screwed that up. Now be sure to check out how I was able to stay cool in my van without air conditioning. I made a video about that you can check out. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.